Namaste.
Namaste. Ramana, this morning we have a new guest. It's JJ. He's living in India and is born in the USA.
Okay, happy to have you. Happy to see everyone back that have been here before.
I was here in 1981 and got initiation from an Ramana. After I retired 2 years ago, I moved here. So I live here now for the past 2 years in Almora. I did an ashram of Ananda Mahima and at Alma's ashram in the wintertime. And now I'm coming over here to Ramana ashram for short periods.
You mean coming back here for short periods? Is that what you're saying?
I was here last year for a week or so, and now I'm here for a month.
To Namalani, you're
Yes,
saying?
I'm staying at the ashram. So
Ramana ashram?
yes, they're allowing me to stay there for a month.
I'm sorry?
They're allowing me to stay there for a month.
I have a hearing infection.
No, you can't hear a thing I said.
No, I heard part of it.
He can stay in the Ramana ashram for 1 month.
Oh, for
this
1
year.
month.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You have a good arrangement with them then, huh? To stay for a month, huh?
Yeah, Shunyata, who was an initiate of Ramana Maharshi in 1936, he had a locution from him, and he was my friend, so they know that, and they know my spiritual history, and I clean the top of the mountain when I'm here.
I see.
So
Okay.
they accept me to stay there for longer periods of time now.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have all visitors to Tiruvannamala. The question is, what are we looking for? What do we come here for? What's going on with us? This morning in our morning quiet time, sometimes it happens just out of the blue. I don't know when it happens. It just happens when it happens. Something rises up that wants to be put into words. So I ended a quiet time early this morning, went in and wrote this paper. I asked the staff to share the paper. Did everyone get this paper? Did you all read it?
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Makes perfect sense to me.
What is it that can enter into your consciousness to such an extent that it ends your seeking a spiritual awakening? I too was a spiritual seeker for many years. That's what I was saying in this paper, what came to me this morning. And I have compassion. I know what it is to be engaged in seeking. Believing that God may be elsewhere in a manner of speaking. Having read about, heard about, attended lectures, workshops, seminars, gone to satsangs. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? What are we looking for? If you'll look and be honest with yourself, some kind of a peak experience? What do you think that peak experience is going to be? Is that it? Is the peak experience it? I would imagine that some of us have had many peak experiences. Sometimes we have a peak experience when we sit down and have a good meal. Go to a new restaurant you've never been to before. That's a peak experience, maybe. Does it last? Is that enough to have a good high moment of peak experience? Tell yourself the truth. Is that enough? This is not a put-down question. I'm saying I've already prefaced it with the fact that I know where you're, if you're looking for that, I'm not judging anyone here. But in all due respect, if you came here to this ashram after seeing a poster, talking to a friend or whatever, and you came here because there was a satsang here and you wanted to come to be in a spiritual environment with other spiritual seekers, in all due respect, I'm not saying it is a put down, I'm saying it simply as a fact. You're still looking for something. Are you not? Why did you come to India, those of you who don't live here? Looking for something. Something that you have felt that you don't have. Something of a spiritual nature you don't have. What can I say to you to convince you that you already have it? Not only do you have it, you've had it all along. What you are looking for is what you already are. I didn't have enough room on this paper to write what more I would have liked to have said. This paper includes just about every major religion. Maybe not all the philosophies, but it does in its own way include all the philosophies as well, and all the psychologies and all. So there's hardly anyone that could not say that they fall into the category of what is being addressed. Whether it be a religion or a philosophy, it is all-encompassing as far as the categories. There's not any category outside of it, really. And if there is, please tell me about it and I'll include it. And I'm not saying it as put down, I'm saying it just to share factually that particularly all the religious philosophies, they all say that God is one. Sure, Hinduism talks about different gods, but underneath it, underlying all the separate individual seeming gods, the God of this and the God of that, the God of every function and every holiday and so forth, the God of every family and so forth, underlying it all and beneath it all is Brahman, the one absolute being, Brahman. So even the Hindus say there's only one. And out of this one appears many. And that we all are that one. Tat Tvam Asi. Does it not? Anyone studied a little Hinduism? Or, Am I right? Or Amarillo? That's another Texas joke. God is one, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. All the power there ever was or will be, all the presence there ever was or will be, all the knowledge there ever was or will be is God's knowledge, God's wisdom, God's presence, God's power. Omni means all. Total, complete. Huh? Does it? Do we all agree with this? Is anyone that disagrees? Be honest with me. Well, on this basis, where we have a consensus of agreement here, I'd like to ask you the question, where does it leave room, this omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience? Where does it leave room for you and me? How can there be a you and a me? How can there be a separate individual apart from this allness of being? Tell me. Please, how can there be? There is not. The one being is playing all of the roles. The one being is living in us, as us. There is not an us apart from it. There is not. The breath you're taking is God breathing you. The thoughts that you're thinking is God thinking through you. The feelings you're feeling is God in you feeling. There is no separate being apart from the one being. So if we're looking for a peak experience to have, this is it. This is the peak experience. Is there anyone here breathing? Your breathing is the peak experience. And the Lord God breathed into man the spirit of life, and man became a living soul. That's the Bible. That's what's occurring right now. God is breathing in us the spirit of life, and we are living souls, full, pure expressions of the one being living us this moment. There is no us as individuals, and never has been. The game is the game apparently of hide and seek, but it's not hide and seek. It's hide playfully and find. Seeking is suffering. And as long as we stay engaged in the active practice of seeking, still looking for some so-called intellectual insight that's going to free us from seeking, I've got news. I have to say it's bad news. It isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen, but there is good news. The good news, which the word gospel, you all know what the word gospel means? It means the good news. The good news is we don't have to have a peak experience. We already are. The full living expression of that which we seek. I'm probably one of the leaders. I had 300 books at one time in my personal library. 300. What did I say, 300? No. I left off a zero. I had 3,000. And some of them I had read over and over and over again. Tapes, cassette tapes, I had hundreds of them. CDs, I don't have any of those anymore because thank goodness, I quit seeking before they started making CDs. One or two passes before me occasionally, and someone says, I'd like for you to watch this one. And if I find time, I might, if it's someone particularly special. But usually if it's a DVD, I should say, DVD, a DVD for me is a good movie. I had the staff order me a DVD or send back home to have someone bring it to me, a new DVD. Not a new one. It's not even new for me, but it's one worthwhile. It's called 2001: A Space Odyssey. How many of you saw it? Yes. A great movie. A great movie. My loves, by the grace of Sri Bhagavan and my own efforting, yes, I did have the awakening that is usually looked for. But after the awakening, and I confess, as I said in the paper, it took me about 5 years for a stabilizing of the awakening event and to get over blowing the dust away out of my eyes, the lint out of my eyes and the dust out of my ears, to look and see what had taken place. And what had taken place was, my God, I've been it all along. Yes, everything is different, and nothing has changed. Everything is different and nothing has changed. So how do you deal with it? What is it that you do when you look and see that, well, here I am. What? What's to be had? Well, I'm waiting until I can be happy all the time. I'm waiting until I have no more upsets. I'm waiting until I have no more fears, no more desires. Let me tell you something. That ain't going to happen. That's not what awakening is about. All of the greatest beings, the ones that all of you have been to, all of the gurus, all of the teachers that many of you have been to, the beautiful beings, the lady you're talking about, a beautiful being, they cry, they laugh, they're sad, they're happy. It does happen. You say, well, what's different about them than anyone else? They don't identify with when they're sad or when they're happy. It's just, I'm happy. And then the next minute, I'm sad. Bhagavan Ramana, when someone would come and be with him who had lost a loved one, a child, or whomever, he would cry with them. He was sad with them. You think he had no compassion? Yes, he had compassion. And then the very next devotee would walk in and celebrate the birth of a child, and he would laugh and smile. The very next instant. So what's the process? Very simply, what is occurring in this world is occurring in the mind. And the self that we are, all of us are, is not the mind. The body lives in time and space. The mind lives in time and space. But the self that we are, which is the one that we think that we're separate from, and we couldn't possibly be separate from and live, we couldn't even take a breath. The self that we think that we're separate and apart from does not live in time and space. You say, well, I haven't realized that self that doesn't live in time and space. Yes, you have. You realize it every time you look at something. It's looking through your eyes right now, and it's the only thing it is capable of you seeing. It's every thought that you're having. It's the only thing that makes it possible for you to even know that you've got a mind that thinks. It's the very awareness that is functioning in you as you this very instant, this very moment. There is no separate individual. I promise you that when your so-called awakening happens, and you've already had it, you're having it right now, you're hearing what I'm saying. Is there anyone that can't hear me? You're hearing. You say, well, I'm hearing you because of my ability to hear with my ears. Well, how do you have that ability to hear with your ears? How do you have the ability to determine and detect what I am saying? How do you have that ability? What gives you that ability? The awareness that you are, the very consciousness. Everything is consciousness. The seat that you're sitting in, that I'm sitting in, is an idea happening. An idea happening. An idea is a thought. Someone designed this seat that we're sitting in. Mine's a little different than yours, but what difference does it make? The idea of a seat. Someone said, let's don't sit on the floor. So here we sit close to the floor. That's different. Let's lean back against something. An idea, just an idea. Everything is an idea happening. Everything in manifestation is just an idea happening. When is it happening? It's only happening this moment. This moment it's an idea happening. It's not an idea happening last moment. Yes, it is an idea that was happening last moment. And it is an idea that will be happening in the next moment, if it's still happening as an idea, unless another idea intercedes and makes a radical change in the idea. What is this that I'm holding? I'm holding a piece of paper. On this piece of paper is written words. We can say that it's a printed tract, an article, or whatever you want to call it, right? Are you all with me? What is it now? What is it? Trash. Just trash. You might say, well, that's all it was to begin with. Please let what I'm saying enter in or pass through the mind that you may be identified with. I'm not accusing you, but the mind you may be identified with that does not want to hear the simple truth that you always already are that which you are looking for from a spiritual point of view in your seeking God, the higher self, the truth of being, or whatever words you want to give to your search. And also let it penetrate into your consciousness that seeking is suffering. As long as you feel that you are an individual apart from the allness of being, separate from the allness of being, that means then you're identified with a separate self-identity, as though you are a separate self-identity. And as long as you're identified with this sense of being a separate self-identity, in all due respect, you're suffering. You're not happy enough. You do not feel you're aware enough, you're good enough, you're free enough, peaceful enough, confident enough. See it. Tell yourself the truth about it. As long as you're engaged in this suffering, separateness, this meditation of a separate self-identity, which is what's actually going on, this meditation of a separate self-identity is suffering. And you continue in it, you're suffering. See it. I don't care where you live. I don't care who you go see. I don't care what profession or work that you do. You're looking for more. I'm not accusing you. I'm saying it in compassion. Please understand me. I don't mean it to be a put down. I'm not saying it as a put down. I'm saying it with compassion. You're looking for more. And when more is not good enough, you're looking for better. And when better is not good enough, you're looking for different. And when different is not good enough, you're looking for more of that which is different. And then better of that which is different, and still different of that which is different. And this escalation of more, better, different, more, better, different, more, better, different, more, better, different. And on and on and on. And then look at the consumption of it. Does anyone know what I'm saying? Can you see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it as a put down. I'm saying, look. Get in touch with it. See for yourself to what extent it is applying to you. And then stop. You already are what you seek. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You say, what's this compulsion within me? It just doesn't feel complete yet. That's where you want to inquire. To whom does it not feel complete? And let me share something with you. There is no method of meditation that will bring you into the full awareness of the being that you are other than inquiry. And inquiry is not a meditation. Self-inquiry is not meditation. Self-inquiry is self-inquiry. Now, meditation is meditation. Nothing wrong with meditation. And if you've been doing meditation for whatever period of time, years, months, days, weeks, or whatever, it's brought you here right now just to hear this message. Self-inquiry will bring you into the awareness of being, not meditation. What is self-inquiry? It's meditating, so to speak. It's holding attention in and on the sense of I and following the sense of I back to the point where the sense of I in you appears to take rise as a seeming individual. And this seeming individual does not even exist. Look for yourself right now. If you start the inquiry right now, put forth the effort right now to do the inquiry and see where your sense of individuality has a point of reference. Where does it exist? Where does it abide? Look inside of your body and see where it is. Where is there a sense of I in you? Where does it live? Can you find it? Look and see and tell yourself the truth. Can you find it? Well, do it. Do the practice and see. Can you find a sense of I within you? If you start looking for it, it'll move all over the place. And keep moving all over the place. And the first thing you know, you're out of your body looking and you can't find it. You're in your mind looking and you can't find it because it doesn't even exist. The overall awareness is the self. Just the awareness, just the simple awareness of being able to hear these words. How do you hear these words? By your awareness. Your awareness is hearing these words. You say, no, my mind is hearing. No, your awareness through your mind is hearing these words. Your awareness has to be there before you could even know that you have a mind to hear. The senses require the mind requires the awareness. Keep going deeper, 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 until you can't go any deeper, then to the point where you can't go beyond. And you must, if you want to really be awake, fully awake, totally awake, forever awake, you have to do it without ceasing. You don't do it just occasionally, when it's convenient. Well, I'm going to inquire because it's more convenient today. Today's my day of inquiry. No, that's not it. This month, I'm going to take a retreat and just inquire all the time. No, that's not it. That won't do it. Do you want it? If you want it, you have to inquire without ceasing. In the Bible, it's called praying without ceasing. That means you do it forever. Did I say it? How long do you do it? How long? Forever. You do it forever. You do it until there's no longer an I to do it. And then the awakening happens. And only then does the awakening happen. If you don't do it forever, your mind is going to come back in, and you will feed your mind with more thoughts and attitudes and beliefs about this, that, and the other. Something more will come up that you want, something different will come up that you want, and something better will come up that you want, and you'll go after that, and you will cease in the inquiry. I'll tell you what does assist is living in conscious company. So yes, be in Satsang, but if you're in Satsang, don't follow what the teacher tells you to do other than inquire. Go in and stay out in the conscious company, but don't pay any attention otherwise to what they're telling you. That is, if they're telling you anything other than what I'm just telling you. You say, well, who are you to tell me if my guru tells me something else? Well, I'm telling you. I'm your friend. You say, well, so is he or she. I'm not looking for anything from you. Nothing at all. I'm not looking for anything from you. Many of you come here and you leave here. Some of you I will never see again. It has not cost you one iota of anything other than your time to come here. But I've got news for you. What you are picking up here, if you pick it up, if you get it, will remain with you forever if you stay with it. And it will make a difference in your life. I promise you. And if you don't believe me, believe some of the others who have been around for a while, and I don't ask anything from them either. Yes, I do. their egos. I only ask for the ego. And I don't want it. I got a whole box full of them back there. I got all kinds of egos back there. Y'all, anybody need some egos? I don't know. Now, what's your questions? Give me your rebuttals.
You spoke the other day. He says, intuitively we notice. Where does that intuitive sense arise from? Is that from the mind or from the awareness?
No, it's the awareness.
Yeah, the
Which is
awareness.
the word you use?
Intuitive.
Intuitiveness is from the awareness, just a knowing. The pure knowing is from the awareness. The pure being is the awareness. It's so simple, it is so basic that we get so caught up in the mind. The mind is the trickster. Now, the mind is beneficial when you are using it at your discretion rather than it using you at its discretion. Then the mind can be helpful. It's a good servant, but it's a terrible taskmaster. And it's a matter of making that distinction. Now, the distinction is very simple. Awareness must be before the sense of I can be. The sense of I must be before thought can be. And thought must be before the body can be. That's the hierarchy. Take it all the way back and you'll find it out for yourself. I'm just sharing with you the hierarchy. It's the inner passageways. It's the doorways. It's the tour you have to take inside yourself. Down this hall, through this door, then down that hall, through this door, and then to the left here and around the corner, and here you are. This is what you have to do. And you have to do it, not believe it. Please don't believe me. Don't believe a single word I'm saying. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Do not believe it. Use my words only as pointers to make this trek within yourself. You have to make this trek within yourself. And don't even believe any other teacher. Don't believe anyone. In fact, don't even believe yourself. All that you've been believing, don't believe it anymore. Test it, try it, and see if it's genuine, if it's real or not. See if you can depend on it. Take a hold of the sense of I. Follow the sense of I by holding on to it firmly with your attention, and continue to hold it and see from whence is this sense of I. As you hold on to the sense of I and continue to follow it back upstream, so to speak, I'm speaking in metaphors. As you continue to hold it and follow it backwards, back to where it seems to come from, eventually it will disappear and leave only the awareness. The awareness does not disappear. You may seem to go out of time and space. Okay, stay with the awareness while you're going out of time and space. I'm going into another realm. Okay, stay firm and go into the other realm. You say, I'm scared shitless. Stay scared shitless. And go into the other realm, wherever it takes you. Yes, I'm radical. Yes, I'm radical. It requires radical inquiry. That one you can believe. It takes radical inquiry. That is, if you want to abide in the pure awareness of being, or you can just say, oh, I just want to hang out in love and peace and space and all. Well, do that too, and you'll die there. The first thing you know, you come back as a dog in Texas. And then I'll say, come, Pooch. Come on, Pooch. I'm not putting you down. I'm just making light. We ought to be able to make light of ourselves. Because that's what we are. Light. Make light of yourself. Follow your awareness all the way back into the pure light of being, so that there's nothing remaining but the light of being. Now understand, the light can't see itself. Nor can the light see darkness. The light can't see darkness, nor can the light see itself, which is light. Be the light. Don't try to see the light. You have to be the awareness. You can't see the awareness. You can't see that which you are. You'll never be able to see that which you are. You can only be that which you are. You are the seeing. You are that which sees. You're that which sees everything that is being seen. But you can't see you seeing it. And you'll never be able to see you seeing it. Do you all get my words? Really tune in that my words are bringing you all the way back to where there's nowhere else back to go to. There's nothing left. Nor is there anything right. It's not a matter of being right or left or right or not right. It's a matter of being prior to, right or left. Prior to. Prior to likes and dislikes. So you say, well, what's it going to be like when I get there? Well, go there and find out. That's the mind wants to know what it's going to be like when you get there. See that. Just see that. It's the mind that wants to know, because the mind wants to say, if you'll take me there, I'll be able to understand it and tell you about it. No. That's just more strategy. The mind cannot survive in this rarefied awareness of pure being. There is no mind in this pure awareness of being. It's prior to the mind. It's beyond the mind. It's totally free of the mind. Right now, in this instant, are you aware that there's a process going on just by you being here while this is being considered? Can you tell when you're in the presence of Arunachala that you're in the presence of a place that is different than any other place you probably have ever been in your life? Can you all tell that? I wonder what it is about Arunachala. It is something kind of special about Arunachala. I wonder what it is. Bhagavan Ramana called it the center of the universe. The center of the universe. It so happens that when you are in the center of your own being, you are in Arunachala. people used to come to the ashram, and Bhagavan would say, that they're in their discussions, they would say that they have come and bring it up that Bhagavan had brought them there. And Bhagavan says, what brought you here? And he'd say, you brought me here, Bhagavan. He says, no. Arunachala brought you here. He says, no, Bhagavan, it was you. He says, that which brought me here brought you here. He recognized Arunachala as, yes, a special place external, apparently, to the body-mind. But there's a unique spiritual essence about Arunachala. It's like a white hole in space. We've heard of black holes in space. Arunachala is a white hole in space. That's the reason this ashram is here. Yes, it's here because I have such high regard to Arunachala, for Arunachala, as well as Bhagavan. And in the awakening that has happened to this one who is speaking, I recognize there is no individual. Arunachala is the source. Bhagavan is the source. The pure awareness is the source. And you're here, you're experiencing it. What brought you here? You were brought here because the source brought you here. What brings you to seek? The source is bringing you to seek. You're seeking to find out the true nature of the being that you are, and the being that you are happens to be God playing the role of your name. Pull out your passport and take a look at your picture. That's not you. It has never been you. That's not you. God is playing the role of you, going around as an imposter. God is the imposter playing the role of you. In America, they have a lot to do with it nowadays called identity theft. People are stealing the identities of other people. Well, who's the big identity theft person? Just get the metaphor. Just see the metaphor. If you were reading a good novel and you're really captivated by the hero or heroine in the novel, and you become identified with that character and you're looking forward to the very next page or the next chapter to see what happens to this hero in the novel, you got taken in by the author in really believing that that hero was real. You understand what I'm saying? Can you all relate to that? Guess what? You are the character in the novel that is your own book of life. You are the character. It doesn't exist otherwise. I was sharing this with the staff a couple of nights ago. When you drop your body, when I drop this body, how many people are going to remember you and for how long? So, well, my relatives will. Yeah, they probably will for a while. How long do you think they will remember you? How many of you here can remember the name of your great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother? What was their name? What was their profession or their occupation? What did they do? What church did they go to? What philosophy did they have? Can you know? Do you know? Your great-great-great-great. Now, if you do, that's pretty unusual. In America, in Washington, D.C., across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C., is a very famous cemetery. It's called Arlington Cemetery. I've visited a number of times there. It used to be Robert E. Lee, who was a general during the American Civil War, who was a general for the Confederate Army. Well, they confiscated his estate and made a cemetery out of it. And on his front lawn, they started burying everybody because the South lost the war. You can go walking through Arlington Cemetery and you can see huge tombstones, some of them, and small ones too, some that are so old they have faded, and others you can still read them. You wonder, here was a great general at a battle. Wonder how many of his relatives even remember or even know that he was here. Who was he, I wonder? Or, of all the battles, who can remember maybe the generals? Who can remember all the generals? How about the colonels? Can you remember the colonels? How about the captains? Can you remember all the captains in all the great wars? What about the lieutenants? What about the privates? You think you can remember them? You think they will be remembered? No, the individuals have no existence, and they will not be remembered unless you happen to have been famous. Buddha? Oh yeah, Buddha's remembered. William Shakespeare, we've all heard of him, I would imagine. We even doubt as to who he was. Have you ever heard that one? Who was William Shakespeare? There's the doubt as to who his real identity was. Yet he wrote so many famous stories in history. Will we be remembered? You don't want to hear this, do you? No, we don't want to hear this. We don't want to hear we're not going to be remembered. It's the ego that needs and wants to be remembered. Please forgive me for sharing the truth with you. The individual that we think we are is not the self we really are. So it's very important that you begin to think about and consider and meditate on the self that you are. That will be remembered by you. All the rest are not going to be remembered when you're no longer around, and you're certainly not even going to be here to remember who you were in this body. Not a happy message. This is not good news. There is good news. What's the good news? You are God playing the role of you. And you're not going to be remembered because you're going to be forever that which you truly are. Would you rather be forever that which you truly are, or be remembered for only about 50 to 75 years to who you think you are? Oh, that's a big decision to make. Would I rather be that which I really am forever, or just be remembered for who I think I am for a little while? Which would you rather? So I didn't mean to give you a dilemma. But you might want to look to see for yourself what is the solution to the dilemma. The solution to the dilemma is There is not now, never has been, nor will there ever be an individual being. There is no such entity. God is playing all of the roles. This is God's show. If you abide in God as God, then you can enjoy the show. A one-man band.
I got this vision of just standing up and doing a cross and stage.
You notice that we don't draw many people here to our home. We don't draw many people here, and as far as Satsang is concerned, and inviting people to come here from the West or wherever, we're the only ashram. All the other ones who have shingles, who have people come for Satsang, they go to rooftops. They rent a rooftop. They don't have an ashram. We have an ashram. Look at our staff down here. We have the most beautiful staff you would ever want to meet. Look how neat they all are. Every one of them. They're beautiful. They're orderly. They're courteous. They're here. They're present. Every day they're dependable. This is our staff here. This is an ashram where people live and work and function here. An ashram, not a hotel, not a rooming house. And what goes on here? Consciousness is what goes on here. Living consciously, living aware, living awake, fully present. That's what goes on here. And many people don't like to live in this awareness. It's too hot. Oh, it's too hot here. India's pretty hot, but boy, this is hot. This is hot. Living in the pure awareness all the time, I don't know whether I'm into that or not. I'd rather just suffer a little bit. I don't know that I'm into bliss all the time. Bliss is just too happy. I have to have just a little upset. I'd rather live a way where I can have some upset. I don't want to be in bliss all the time. That'll burn away the dross. And I need a little dross to give me a coating against the cold. I'm being playful. And I'm also serious. I'm playfully serious and seriously playful, because we're dealing here in transformation. Transformation is what we're about. Not information, not concepts, not theories, not beliefs. We're into transformation. Enlightenment is what we're about. True enlightenment, not beliefs about enlightenment. This is what we're about here in Ahom. You're all invited to return as often as you want to. Tell your friends this is the only ashram that offers inquiry. The only one that's an ashram offering satsang and inquiry. Inquiry and satsang in Tiruvannamalai. That's unique. Isn't it amazing that very few people even consider it? Well, I invite you to stay in it all the time with us, as we do, and be happy. Namaste. I love you.